Good morning friends, myself Professor Dhaval Chandarana, and we are continue on our video series lecture about subject cybersecurity, and we are studying a unit number 1 system vulnerability scanning overview. So guys, as my video lecture series, we are studying lots of practical tools in my previous video lectures, and today we will learn so many other tools which is really helpful to understand vulnerability scanning, as well as it is really helpful to in cybersecurity subject. So in our previous lecture we are studying two different tools which is part of network consistency, or we can say a network reconsistency. In part of network recognition tool, we are studying a two different tool known as THC, AMAP and NMAP, and I hope you are clear both the tool with a brief idea and how to use it, what are the different functionality, and how we can secure our computer system as well as secure our network through these tools. So guys, we will continue on unit number 1, and we are studying a two different tool. It is known as a network Sniffers and injections tools. In this network Sniffers and injections tool, today we will discuss two tools known as TCPdump and WinDump. So start with the today's video lecture. We are discussing a brief introductions about TCPdumps and different options through which we can secure our computer system as well as our internet services. So network sniffers tool and injections tool, start with the TCPdump. TCPdump is a command line utility. What is a command line utility? At that time we are just remember those command which is part of a TCPdump, and through this command we can perform so many scan which is availability in nowadays, or we can say our secure our network as well as our computer system through against vulnerability. So the TCPdump command is a command line utility that allow you to capture and analyze a network traffics going through your system, because it is the really required nowadays against a cybersecurity as well as against the unauthorized user can access our computer system without any kind of permissions, or we can say against a hacking. It is often used to help a troubleshoot network issues as well as a security tools. So many ways when we are connected in a single network with lots of users, at that time this kind of issue should be available, or may be available whenever we are accessing a public area network, or we can say public internet services which is available on lots of coffee shops, railway stations, bus stations, aerodrome, and so many ways where so many people are connected on a single network. At that time troubleshooting network issue may be happened. So for this we are using TCPdump tool, as well as they are providing a security tools against unauthorized or illegal activity which should be part of our internet services. TCPdump also used for debugging the network setup itself by determining whether all the necessary routing in occurrence property, allowing the user to further isolate the source problem. Means in a short, we can say that if you have any problem regarding vulnerability as well as a network issues, at that time we are directly use a TCP software, or we can say use a TCPdump command line arguments through which we can perform all the activity which should be mentioned in this line. Debugging the network setup means if you have any kind of problem regarding IP address, your DNS mark, your default mask, and all the things which should be part to connect internet services on your computer system. So whenever you found any kind of problems which is availability to access internet on your computer system, at that time we are using TCPdump software. TCPdump is a UNIX tool. As previously we said, lots of tools available in Windows based as well as a UNIX based system. So guys, if you are interested in a cybersecurity, or if you want to create or make your future in a cybersecurity world, then you must learn how to work a UNIX operating system, because 70% of tools is part of a unique operating system. So it's my first and personal advice to you to all, if you want to create your career or if you think about your career on a cybersecurity world, then you must learn how a Unix will be work and what are the different things which we are really want to study whenever we are performing cybersecurity. So it is the use to gather a data from the networks, decipher the bits. Decipher is nothing but to provide another security levels against unauthorized access. Display output in a semi-coherent fashions. It works on a Linux, Solaris, BSD, Mac OS, etc. So guys, there are the lots of options available to use TCPdump in your computer system. But one thing is missing in this TCPdump. It is if you work as a Windows system, then it's not be work. For this, we are studying some another tools. So till now, we want to use TCPdump. For this, we want to study one of the operating system through which we can perform all the features and functionality which should be availability in a TCPdump. TCPdump use the libpcap. It is one of the library or we can say tool to capture the packet. At we can say that it is work same like a Wireshark. It is very useful and it is freely available tool which is work on a Windows as well as Unix system. But the functionality is to capture packets, and after capturing packets they provide all the features which should be available on a network, path of networks, as well as what are the different way to send to receive this particular packet, total delay time, what are the informations, what are the security purpose, and all the things which you should be required to know about as a level of security. So the TCPdump also perform this kind of functionality and features against the Unix operating system. It can be used for the intercepting and displaying the communications of another users or a computer, because in a previously we will study if you are performing a single system, then also you can perform the security. If you want to connect a remote server or we can say outside of network computer, then also you can perform the same functionality, same security and same criteria which should be available on a single system. So guys, it is really helpful to understand as well as perform on a practical way to understand about different features and functionality which should be provided by the TCPdump. TCPdump use with the privileges acting as a router or a gateway through which unencrypted traffic such as telnet or HTTP passes can use the TCPdump to view the login IDs, passwords, the URL and content of websites being viewed or any other unencrypted informations. I think now you are clear what is the actual thing which we are studying in this TCPdump. It works, or we can say it is acting as a router or a gateway. Now I think you know what is the router and gateway. Gateway, it is nothing but to provide the communications between two or more than two systems within the network. And same way, if you want to extend our internet services, then at that time we are using the router. But it is the provide a technology where they are performing unencrypted traffic such as login IDs, or we can say login criteria, credentials, username and passwords, the URLs which should be not part of unencrypted data. Like if we are working on a VPN, then the URL is form on encrypted data. But in TCPdump, if you work as a TCPdump, then you can easily get your URL as well as login credential within unencrypted form. Means you can easily read your all the data without particular a network request. TCPdump can only be used by the root users. It is the really important thing which we are studying whenever we are using TCPdump. If you want to perform a practical on your computer system, then you must be as a admin users, because root on a Unix operating system is a part of admin. So whenever you are performing any kind of function as well as a functionality, if you want to use it in your computer system, you must be act as a root user, or you can have all the privileges which is provided by the admin. It can be decoded and monitoring the headers data like internet protocol, transmissions control protocol, user datagram protocol, and internet control message protocol. So guys, this is the 4 protocol which we are really helpful to communicate with the internet network, outside of network, and lots of functionality like a TCP provide a wired connections, and UDP provide a wireless connections. And through the internet protocol, I think you know very well, if you want to search anything over the internet world, you must have one of the IP address where you can access outside of network with help of particular identity known as internet protocol. And there are the 2 different options like a private IP address and public IP address. So guys, if you want to perform or monitoring the headers with rest of all the below mentioned protocol, then you can use TCPdump tool. Now we study capturing packets with TCPdump, because it is a really important thing to know about how to capture a packet, and if we are capturing those packets which is not required or not requested from our side, then it is really harmful for our computer system as well as our computer network system. So first we learn how to capturing packets with TCPdump. To capture the packets for the troubleshooting or analysis, TCPdump require elevated permissions. So in the following example, most commands are prefixed with a sudo. I will just remind you what is sudo. Sudo, it is nothing but the access permissions which is available for only admin users. So as a previously we studied that if you perform any kind of command with help of TCPdump tool, you must have admin privileges. So what is the command? To begin, I use the command TCPdump-d to see which interface are available for the capturing, because there are the lots of options available with respect to capturing the packets, like a detailed information, short information, informations regarding time, information regarding a path, informations regarding source to destinations, and informations regarding a security against the packets. So all the information is available in with help of TCPdump-d. So we just write down the command like $sudo, it is the default one if you are admin users. So what is required to write down? You just write down the TCPdump-d. But before use the TCPdump, you must to install a TCPdump in your computer system. So it is the first prerequisite. If you have installed a TCPdump in your computer system, then you can perform those kind of command. And if you are working as a UNIX operating system, then you don't want to install the TCPdump because it is an inbuilt tool which is provided by the Kali Linux. So guys, you just write down this command on a command prompt, or we can say if you are using a UNIX operating system, or we can say Kali Linux, at that time we are writing those commands on a terminal, because on a Windows system you are performing CMD known as command prompt. If you are working in a Unix based Linux based system, then you are working as a terminal. So they provide the numbers of results like Ethernets, VRBRs, Ethernet 1, and any pseudo device that capture on all the interfaces. If you mentions -d any, means availability of all the options which should be provided by the TCPdump. And last one, it is LO, or we can say loopback. So there are the different options available to find out interface, which is mentions below. Now we study what are the different options available with a TCPdump. So there are the 13 options. It is the limited option which should be discussed, or we need to remind those all the things which should be really important, but there are the lots of options available instead of these 13, but we are just discussing important one on this particular slides. So start with the -f. Use file as an input for the filter expressions. Means if you want to filter out a particular file with a particular security criteria, or we can say a protocol, or we can say a consolidations condition with a particular file, at that time we are using -f. What is dash I? Listen on interfaces if unsuspectified TCPdump searches the system interface list for the lowest number. Then dash P, do not put the interface into the promiscuous modes. Interface is nothing but the provide intermediator connectivity with your source and destinations. What is dash R? Read packet from files. Standard input files is dash E, as previously we discussed on a dash F. Fifth one, it is nothing but the W. Write the raw packets of the file, or we can say to the file, rather than parsing and printing them out. Means it is just a read those kind of packets which is available in a particular file. They are not printing any kind of informations on your screen. Dash N, do not convert address to the name. It is provide a DNS system. Dash Q, quick output, print less protocol information, so output lines are shorter. If you want to a brief and shorter information against the packet, you just mention dash Q. Then they provide short informations on your screen within the faster response. Capital H, print absolute rather than relatives TCP sequence number. Means they provide the complete informations regarding a TCP sequence number. And my previous video lecture, if you have any doubt regarding a sequence number, what is the requirement of sequence number, then you just watch my previous video. Sequence number, it is one of the most important thing when you are performing a communication with help of TCP protocol. Dash T, do not print a timestamp on each dump line. Means every time you just not to write down your timestamp, at that time you just mention dash T. Dash double T, print an unformatted timestamp on each timelines, or we can say and each packet. Dash E, print the link level header on each dump line. Dash A, print each packet in a ASCII code. And the last one, dash C, exit after receiving count packets. Means if you want to exit automatically after receiving all the packet with the how many packets are received, at that time you just mention C, and C work as a count of packet. So guys, those are the options which should be accessible with the TCPdump, and if we want to use those kind of options, then they provide a description which should be mentioned on a remarks column. So if you want to use on a practical note, you just remember those things and perform and getting information regarding all the options. So guys, it is the TCPdump which we want to study on a theoretical point of view. If you want to perform on a practical thing, you just install the Linux and perform this command with help of different options. Now we are studying another tool which is really helpful to understand. It's known as a WinDump. WinDump, the Windows version of a TCPdump. Just a one line mentions all the things which we are studying in a previous TCPdump. If you perform all the facility and all the functionality on your Windows screen, then you must be install a WinDump, because it is a Windows versions of TCPdump. Can help you to analyze a network traffic to look for the sign of active malwares. They also provide the activity, or if your computer system is infected with the malwares, then also they can provide informations of a malware. WinDump comes in a two part. Which is the two part? First one, the first is a sets of network captured device, or we can say drivers, called as WinCap, which WinDump use the obtain packet level access to the network interface in your computer system. So WinDump provides a two different facility against two different tasks. If you perform only the network interface or network traffic, at that time you just work on a WinCap. And the second part in the program itself, WinDump, which is invoked from the command line after you are installing WinCap library. Because if you have a WinCap library, then you are performing a different option which we are seeing in our previous slides. So you must be have a WinDump. Then after you install a WinCap. If you have WinCap library, then and then you can capture all the packet on a network interface level within your computer system. Now how to work a WinDump? It is the basic syntax which we want to study in this particular WinDump. We are not going on a depth because it is the same way which working as a TCPdump. We are studying TCPdump on a depth, so we can easily understand what are the different functionality provided by WinDump for a Windows operating system. So we just work on a WinDump as a TCPdump. Default command ccount. We know that why we are using a ccount. C file size, F file, I interface, M is equal to mode, M is a secret, R file, S nemple, T types of file, F a read file, F file counts, E SPI @IP address, algorithm secrets and lots of algorithm if we want to use with another security level. Then dash Y, it is a data link type, Z it is a user mentions, and last one is expressions. So it is the in form of square bracket. It means that it is the optional thing. If you want to use any of the thing, if you want to informations against any of these kind of informations against your packet, against your network traffic, then you can use easily with help of this kind of options, through which you can get this particular informations, which we are study in a different options available in TCPdump. So guys, it is the two tools which we are want to study for the vulnerability, network interface, as well as capturing packet on our computer system. So I hope you are enjoy this video lecture, and I wish you perform the practical things on your computer system with help of WinDump and TCPdump. Thank you, enjoy, take care, bye bye.